Religion was an important aspect in the ancient Egyptian culture. The Egyptians used religion in an attempt to better understand the earth and the purpose of life. There were many gods and goddesses in ancient Egyptian society. Each god and goddess held an important role that helped to explain the world. Ra is the sun god and the most important god of ancient Egypt. The story of Isis and Osiris. This story is a definition of a true love story. Even through all the obstacles, their love conquered all. It all started after Gib, the father of Osiris, gave up his power over Egypt and retired into heaven. After the death of his father, Osiris married his sister, Isis. Egypt began to flourish again with the help of the new king. Osiris then went off to create peace in the other parts of the world. While he was away, his sister wife held the power over Egypt. Seth was jealous of his brother and envied his power. So while Osiris was away, his brother created a plan to kill him. Isis was worried about Osiris because she did not trust Seth. When Osiris returned from his travels, a huge banquet was given and everyone was invited, including Seth. Despite of Isis' wishes for him to not come. At the banquet, Seth bragged about a beautiful coffin made of the best wood. Osiris asked for Seth to show him the coffin. When the coffin arrived, Seth promised to give it to whoever could fit inside of it. Everyone tried to fit in the coffin, but there was no luck. No one knew that Seth had secretly measured it to fit Osiris. When no one else could fit, Osiris volunteered to try, and when he laid inside Seth's accomplices, shut the door and nailed it shut. Seth then ordered for the coffin to be thrown into the Nile. In despair, Isis disguised herself and set off to find her husband. The journey to find the king began. Isis searched every place possible until one day she overheard some children saying that they seen a coffin floating down the Nile. She then went to a land called Byblos, where she heard a rumor of a tree growing on the shore of the Nile. The locals told Isis that the coffin was stuck in a bush. The tree grew largely due to Osiris' spirit and was cut down by the king to build his palace. Isis then set out to the palace to discover that her husband's coffin was stuck into a tree trunk. Isis told the queen that she was a hairdresser so that she could get closer to her husband. The queen then asked her to watch her son, the prince. Isis would sneak in every night and cry next to her husband's coffin. That's when Isis decided to make the prince immortal. She took him to the coffin and set a fire one night. She put the boy over the fire and started to recite her magic spell. The queen heard the sounds coming from the room and rushed in. In horror, she cried aloud. Isis went back to her original form and the magical fire went out. Isis then revealed herself to the queen and told her it was impossible for the prince to be immortal. The queen asked Isis how could she repay her, and Isis asked for the pillar holding the coffin. The queen gave it to her immediately. Isis then traveled back to Egypt with the coffin. When she reached shore, she opened the coffin and embraced Osiris. Isis then closed the coffin and continued her journey to the land to bury him. One night, Seth and his men noticed the golden coffin. Since Seth feared treachery, he ordered for Osiris' body to be ripped apart and his body parts spread around Egypt. When Isis found the empty coffin, her cries quaked both heaven and earth. Isis then went on a search to find Osiris' body parts with her sister. Isis searched the land for many years. Every body part she found, she made an altar to pay thanks to Osiris. After finding all his body parts, Isis turned Osiris into the first mummy. Isis used her magic to breathe life into Osiris. By doing this, he could compete with Seth. Osiris then became the king of the dead. Isis and Osiris were reunited together for eternity.